retreat series, Dhamma talk number 46. In the last over 40 Dhamma talks, we discussed very specific about each mental state, each technique in details. We talk, we discuss, we practice. So by now, I think most of you are quite familiar and skillful with it. And now we are starting to weave all those that we have learned into a tapestry. So many factors will come in to see in a bigger picture. Whenever we talk about any specific things, we should look in terms of two aspects. Okay, Satipatthana Vipassana. One aspect is in very detailed, moment to moment, with the penetrated, thorough investigation that is applied in our talk. And also the same thing one should reflect and understand in a larger picture, which means what you are doing, what we are doing every day, the situation, condition, any and every aspect we are facing on a day-to-day basis. The Buddha's teachings is applicable to both situations and one can apply as needed. Last talk, we have two phrases, if you remember. Sattama Javana, which means listening, learning, studying, discussing about with regard to the sublime Dhamma. That's one aspect, one phrase. And then second one is Atta Samapaniti. Basically, one who has learned and studied and understand all the theoretical aspect of this sublime Dhamma. One uses all those things that he had learned and apply correctly and practice intensely and live accordingly the best that you can. That is Atta Samapaniti. So two things. And we talk those two things in terms of what? To upgrade, uplift our human qualities. The purpose of being a human from the Buddhist point of view is always to keep on improving and upgrading the human qualities. That is the purpose of life. Always trying to make better and better for yourself and for the humanity as well. So those two phrases we talk in terms of uplifting the human quality. Now let's see what these twos can do in a different way related to us. Let's see, all of us, the whole human race, men, human, male, female, everyone, children, adult, we like to be beautiful. We like to be handsome. We like to look good. That is automatic for every one of us. So what do? In general, we bathe, we keep ourselves clean and tidy, neatly dressed properly, color coordinated, fashion designer, and so on. And also we put cosmetic and perfumes to make ourselves beautiful. Now they even go farther. Okay? Liposuction, Botox, surgery to make yourself beautiful. Beautiful, 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 because we all want to be beautiful. Everybody, to the greater or lesser degree, that's what we are doing. We are trying to make ourselves, most specifically the body, looks beautiful. And that's common to all of us, to the lesser or greater degree. We are always in that direction. Even the monks, great monks, they like to be beautiful. They like to look smart. They like to do good. Dress the robe properly, according to the rules and regulations, compose. Why? They want to look beautiful, handsome, smart, respectable. And we are always trying all our means to do that. All these cosmetics and perfumes and makeups. That is very obvious. But how much? How many people, what percentage of the humanity try to make their mind beautiful? That's a question. Only a few percentage of us is really trying to make our mind beautiful. Okay? Beauty of the body we all do, but beauty of the mind, not many does. And how can we make our mind beautiful? Then it comes back to two little phrases. Okay? Saddhamma Javana and Atta Samapaniti. Last time we talked about how to uplift our quality as a human being. And this one, the same thing now, it is how to make your mind beautiful. These two things come back in. And how does these two come and apply again? Okay? To make our body beautiful, we have a whole load of a basket of cosmetics and makeups and lipsticks and perfume and so on and so on and so on. Whole baskets of them. And not only that, you have these things, you have to have an instruction how to do it, how to apply it, with what skin, what color, and so on. That is a whole load of baskets of instructions, how to do it, and the products. And in here, Saddhamma Javana is the basket of cosmetics and makeups and perfume or lipsticks to make your mind beautiful. And it comes with instruction, details, how to do it. That is listening to the Dhamma, reading, discussing, reflecting. That is, you are actively studying how to, all these products, how to apply them. That is the basket. The first basket, cosmetic and instruction how to do, is Saddhamma Javana. And then second one is having these cosmetics are not enough. Instruction is not even enough. You have to practice again, apply again and again and again and again. You even have to bring experts to put it, these makeups and cosmetics. You need expert instruction how to do it. And you do again and again and again. And when you become skillful, you can make yourself beautiful. The same thing. Atta Samapaditi is you are applying all the things that you have learned, all the things that you have learned from the first part, you are putting into practice. Atta. Atta in here means the mind, self, the mind. Samapanidi. Okay? What you have learned correctly, what you have read correctly, you are applying, practicing correctly again and again and again. And at times you have to bring in experts to correct you, to teach you, to direct you. Then you try again and again and again, and then you become skillful. When you become skillful, automatically you become beautiful. The mind becomes beautiful. That is how Sattama Javana and Atta Samapaniti can make your mind beautiful. And in here, it's the mind. The mind is something that you don't see. The body, yes. You put makeup on, you dressed up. You go in front of a mirror and you look at it, you check at it, and you can correct it. The mind, you can't see that way. As you couldn't see that way, where and how would you correct it? You have to look into the mirror of the mind mirror, which is wisdom. You have to realign yourself with insight and wisdom to see how to make your mind more and more beautiful. And in here, it is an endless process. You think you have made your mind beautiful already. Know that there's still more room to improve. More still room to make it more and more beautiful. Always know that. Why? What is this mirror of the mind? What is this wisdom? And why do we need to improve more? Close your eyes and observe what? Your mind and matter, the body and the mind. You observe and you observe and you observe. When you observe, then what do you see? In that mirror, sometime some thought arises related with greed, related with lust, related with anger, related with dissatisfaction. How often are they arising? How intense are they? There you go. That is the mirror of the mind. In the mirror of the mind you see. And whenever you see these things, you know that you need to improve, you need to improve, you need to improve. That's why always know that there is always room to improve in the beautification of your mind. There's always room to improve. The mind associated with raga, okay, lust, greed, okay, likes what you fond of, and also mind associated with dosa, various level of aversion, anger, hatred, ill will, jealousy, envy, anxiety, worries, all these things. You can see it, you can experience it if you are observing. If you are looking into the mirror of the mind, you can see these things and you can correct these things. Always we talk about only these two, lobha and dosa, greed and anger. But actually it's not two, actually it's three. If you remember, whenever there is a greed or lobha, there is a delusion, moha is associated with it. They are always in pair together, arise together, disappear together. The same thing whenever anger arises, dosa arises, and moha, uncontrollably, uncertainties, always arises together. So there are three fires, not only two fires. In Buddhist scripture, these mental states are presented as fire because it burns you. It burns you dangerously. It burns your mind. It burns your name. It burns your fame. It is dangerously hot. 2 fires, but in fact it's 3 fires, lobha, dosa and moha. They burn you. And after they have burned you, all that is left is what? Only useless charcoal and ashes. In other words, whatever is left after it burns you is totally useless. That's what you are left with when it burns. So, those are the mental defilements, lobha, dosa and moha. And you can look into the mirror of your mind and see how are they arising, what frequency are they arising, at what intensity they are arising. You can always watch. And by observing then, you can improve and you can make yourself, you can make the mind more and more and more beautiful. So, this is beautiful mind. Don't think about the movie Beautiful Mind. Beautiful mind actually is a word, a Buddhist word. In the scripture, the original word is called Sopana Citta. Sopana means beautiful. Citta means mind. Sopana Citta is beautiful mind or beautiful consciousness. Okay. We know in general there are about 121 type of different consciousness. A certain type are called Sopana Citta, beautiful mind. So that is what it is. We are trying to develop this Sopana Citta, beautiful mind. With what? With those 2 little phrases, listening to Dhamma and applying it in a practice. So Sopana Citta is 2 things, Sopana and Citta. Citta is the mind itself, the mind or consciousness. The mind or consciousness is simply the ability to know the object. Sopana, beautiful. Okay, let's call it in English, not sufficient, but Sopana. It is a cetasika mental factor, Sopana Citta. So the mind that arises together with beautiful cetasika is called beautiful mind. Now we go into the actual Dhamma, not a beautiful mind from a movie. A mind that arises together with the beautiful mental factors. What are these beautiful mental factors? Let's pick up something that we are very familiar with. Saddha. Saddha, faith or confidence. Buddhist faiths are verifiable faith. Verifiable faith or confidence. Consciousness that arises together with this saddha. If you look at them, number one, that is the quality is very pure. Quality is very clear. There's a clarity in that consciousness. There's a purity in that consciousness. Clarity means that consciousness is not muddy, not turbid, not foggy. Look at it, it's clearly, everything is with clarity. Looking at a very still, clear pond, you can see everything underneath. Pebbles, moss, little fishes. Just like that, that clear mind can see everything with perfect, pure and clear vision. That is the mind associated with saddha. It has a swiftness and it has a purity. What is swiftness? Sometimes, you think about something and you just can't figure it out. Sometimes you look at something and, by the way, bingo, you know exactly what the answer is. The second part, that's called swift. Swiftness, it can penetrate into things and see the root very clearly. That is the quality of this saddha associated mind, faith or clarity. It has a swiftness, it has a clarity, it has a purity. That's a quality. And these qualities make the mind beautiful. That is saddha, just one. And then saddha is, these are just simply explaining when the consciousness with the saddha, how it functions. Now, sincere is, now we are not just talking about saddha in a general sense. Okay, there's a saddha, it's called faith. There's a blind faith. Blind faith is not what saddha in Buddhist words means, implies. Saddha in Buddhism is that faith, that belief system is always associated with intelligence and investigation. Without associating with intelligence and investigation, that cannot be called saddha. Okay. So even among the Buddhists, let's see it in a two aspects. Okay. What do we do? Oh, we have saddha, faith and confidence. What do we do having faith and confidence? Okay. Well, from the books, from reading, from listening 1,000 times, we have faith and confidence in the Buddha, in the Dhamma, in the Sangha, and karma vipaka. Okay? Karma vipaka. Karma and its resultant. Okay? Of course, that's what it is. But people who were born, especially in a Buddhist country, let's call it like a place in Burma, people just born, they are born as a Buddhist. From day one, as soon as they know how to, the parents make sure they say Bodham Bujemi, Dhammam Bujemi, and so on and so. They grow up as a Buddhist. They go to the monastery, they learn something, they recite something, they go and offer food, and that's about it. I'm a great Buddhist. I don't hurt anybody, I don't harm anybody. Yes, I believe in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. I believe. I have full devotion to this Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, karma, I believe. Ask them, what do they really believe? They don't know. They can't say. They hear something, they memorized it, and everybody around believe, and I believe. It is the environmental conditioning. Everybody believe, I believe. My parents are Buddhists, my great-grandparents are Buddhists, I'm a Buddhist. We believe, we really devoted to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Yes, that person have faith, that person have saddha, but his saddha is superficial saddha. Especially people in Burma, because that is the environment. It's environmental conditioning. So, it's good, not so bad. Not even having anything, having something is not bad, but it's a superficial belief. But if one's want to say, I really have saddha, faith and confidence in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, there must be intelligence related to it and investigation related to it. You must really study, learn, discuss, and practice, and see for yourself and investigate for yourself. After your investigation, your own findings, your own result, you feel very satisfied with the result. After your investigation, then you claim, I believe, I have saddha, then only saddha has a full force and effect. Otherwise, saddha has a superficial effect. This is saddha. So, investigate through literature, through discussion, investigate through actual application, and find out the result yourself, find out the benefit yourself, and then analyze, reflect upon that result, and reflect upon that benefits. It's really good, you really like it, then you embraced it, you take it as your own. Then that person has the beautiful mind. That person has the mind with true saddha that arises out of intelligence and investigation. So, to have saddha, to have belief, you need, they call it satya vittu. Satya vittu means, satya is, let's say, saddha, faith and confidence. Vittu means object. Okay? So you simply just don't have, you can believe in many things, you can investigate in many things, and you can embrace many things. But as a Buddhist, who are a practicing Buddhist, okay, who are a practicing Buddhist, then you need the correct satya vittu, in other words, the correct object, so that you can place your saddha. And of course, the other one is actual investigation. Of course, you can go and investigate on how to send a rocket to the Mars or to the moons or to cross the universe. That's also investigation. We're not talking about that. We are talking now as a practicing Buddhist. As a practicing Buddhist, what do you investigate in? You investigate into the satya vittu, an object that will produce the saddha in terms of mental state within the confine of Buddhism. And even in Buddhism, it's Theravada Buddhism. Okay? We always use the word sama. Even the atta samapanidi. Sama is correct, right and correct, rightly, correctly. As soon as you say rightly and correctly, there's another part that's wrong, an error. So we should understand, what does sama mean? What does right and correct mean in terms of our practice? We are not trying to say, I am right and they are wrong. My philosophy is right and their philosophy is wrong. My view is right and their view is wrong. My religion is right and their religion is wrong. Not that. Or even among the Buddhists, okay, Mahayana is right, Hinayana is wrong, Theravada is right, Tibetan is wrong. No. If you understand that, for the word sama, right and wrong, you don't truly understand what sama means. One must understand what sama means, what right means. That right is very specific. Buddha doesn't leave us astray. Don't have to wander in the forest. That sama is anything that you are doing, that you are investigating, that you are applying, that you are reading, must be in the confines of the 8 constituents or Eightfold Noble Path. There are 8 different kinds of mental states and application. And any investigation that you make contains that 8 constituents. As a Buddhist, we call it sama. If that 8 constituent is not there, we don't call it sama. Okay, we can call it saddha It can be on anything. But as soon as you say Sama-sada, that means that 8 constituent there. We can call it Viriya, effort. Okay, it can be any effort. Some people put enormous amount of effort. They climb Mount Everest up and down 10 times, enormous amount of effort. But not that effort. Effort, that's simply effort. As soon as you say Samavariya, right effort, that effort must have these 8 qualities, 8 constituents together. That's what Sama means. So don't need to argue with anything, don't need to debate with anything. You have a very clear, defined based on Sama. So whenever we hear the word within the Buddhist confine of right and wrong, understand under that explanation. That's the right, correct Sama. So in here, you have this Sada, the right. And in here is you have to have a Sadhya Vitu. Okay? Objects that can truly bring about the Saddha. In other words, that is the proximate cause. Those Saddha producing objects are the proximate cause to bring about the Saddha. Saddha is the effect. Those objects are the cause. What are those objects? Those objects are the one we already said. If you investigate into what Buddha is, if you investigate into what Dhamma is, what Sangha is, what Karma is, what Vipaka is, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Karma, Vipaka are called Sadhya Vitu. Saddha producing objects. You must direct your mind to these things. And if you direct your mind to these things and if you investigate into these things, you will truly develop Sama Saddha, faith and confidence in this. So it's very, very precise understanding. We don't have to arm-waving technique. You produce, you look into these objects. These objects become the proximate cause, and the result is Saddha. And if the Saddha is associated with the consciousness associated with Saddha, that is a beautiful mind, simply beautiful mind. But here now, you have Saddha. Of course, we are doing under the Atta Samapaditi. You are applying all the techniques, the correct technique that you learn. Saddha is simply the first. And then because of the Saddha, you investigate the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And what do? Whenever you investigate, you have to look, you have to observe, you have to observe moment to moment to moment to moment. That is the Buddhist investigation. Moment to moment you investigate. Whatever arises, there are only 2 things that arises. One is the matter and one is the mind, nama and rupa. You investigate into it. When you investigate into it, there's one critical point. The first one, it must be happening right now. And then when you investigate it, do not think, do not reflect on the object that you are investigating. In other words, without words, without concept. You transcend the concept because concept can be polluted. You experience directly raw onto the object. That's your observation. When you observe that, when you observe an object at the present moment, you experience this directly, and whatever you experience, what do? You put it into the automatically, you put it into your memory bank. You note it, You record it. You documented that experience. Okay? I'm trying to explain in words, but simply that experience is being put it into the memory bank. Without words, simply an experience. That noting, recording, documenting, remembering that object in that way is called sanya. Sanya is translated as perception. You record it. But when you record it with precision, at that moment, when you are dealing with without any bias, automatically mindfulness arises, sati arises. So basically, sanya, perception, is the cause. Sati, mindfulness, is the effect. Simply, at first is sanya, perception, but when you apply correctly as instructed, it becomes mindfulness, sati. Now sati, the true mindfulness, sati, arises. And the mindfulness arises, what happened? At the moment when mindfulness arises, there is the bias stop. Likes and dislikes stop. Pleasant and unpleasant stop. Everything stop. Why stop? Stop doesn't mean it disappears. You begin to experience them as they really are at that moment. Truly as they are. You experience it. In other words, all the negative mental state you experience passed away without moving you, rocking you. All the positive mental state arise, you experience, and they disappear without moving you. That's moment to moment. But when you have this kind of a very precise, strong mindfulness, it gives you a condition. It creates a condition and environment for apamada, heedfulness to arise. That strong, continuous mindfulness create an environment for another mental state to arise. That mental state is called apamada. So mindfulness is create a path, a roadway for the apamada, another mental state to arise, one after the other. Apamada, heedfulness. What is heedfulness? Heedfulness, if I have to explain a little bit more, heedfulness is in every instant, every situation, every condition, you just know exactly what kind of things to avoid. Or in other words, all unwholesome things automatically marked as things to avoid, and you actually avoid. That is apamada. Under apamada, that's one quality. And also, under that apamada quality, also knows everything that is good and wholesome, what need to be done, and you actually execute it. That is apamada. Mindfulness is simply precisely knowing, give you full clarity because of saddha. And there's a mindfulness, and then mindfulness continuity give rise to the apamada, heedfulness. You know the opposite word, pamada, heedlessness. Apamada is heedfulness. Heedfulness is you know the whole situation in a bigger picture. You know the situation, what is wholesome and unwholesome, what to execute, what not to execute. You know the causal relationship, all these negative and positive things, and what is the right thing to do. That is apamada, larger picture, or the big brother of sati, mindfulness. That's apamada. That apamada arises. And then when that appamada arises, automatically the minds become more beautiful. Before it was beautiful, saddha, it was a beautiful mind. And when mindfulness associated in that group, it become more beautiful. Now there's appamada, another mental state come in. The mind even become more beautiful, getting closer to the status of Mr. or Mrs. Universe beauty contest. Appamada, you got it. And at that moment, you have to remember, step by step, everything started with sanya, perception. Perception gives rise to mindfulness. Now mindfulness gives rise to heedfulness. And every stage, the minds become more and more and more beautiful. And when you have that, okay, the appamada, it's not only in the moment-to-moment meditation, it is carrying out into your daily life. But you practice again and again and again. And suddenly, along with it, another mental state arises. Okay. When you are fully heedful in all the instances, in your daily life, in your activities, in your business, in your education, in your parties, appamada is not forgotten. Then if you can practice that, the next mental factors arises. They are called hiri and uttappa. Hiri and uttappa. Simply put, you feel ashamed to do anything that is wrong or unwholesome, and you always feel dread or fearful of the consequences if negative things would be done. Shame and dread, hiri and uttappa, arises. First of all, is simply you just know what to do, what not to do, and you execute. And suddenly, not only that, the next level is you are like as if one do not want to touch what do you call poops. Dog poops on the road. Nobody want to touch it. Oh, yucky, unhealthy, full of disease. Just like that, the mindset is anything unwholesome, you don't want to do anything with it. That kind of intensity of feeling arises in you. That's called hiri and uttappa. Hiri uttappa arises continuously. When this hiri and uttappa arises, what happens is the minds become very, very beautiful. You see, these are the stages, but it is not just boom, everything come in and beautiful. You practice and you practice, perfect the skill, and you go to this level. These hiri and uttappas, don't underestimate it. It is when you have that, this has various names. We already know what it is. We don't want to do anything that is unwholesome. We don't want to do anything that has to do with lobha, dosa, and moha. What it is all, this hiri and uttappa is also called in the scripture with another name. It's called the white Dhamma. The white Dhamma means this has a base of white. This hiri uttappa has a white base. And everything that they touches turn into white. Everything that they touches turn into white color. Because you know there are some mental factors. They are neither wholesome or unwholesome. If they are associated with unwholesome, they become unwholesome mental factors. If they are associated with wholesome, they become wholesome factors. Just viriya, effort. If you're doing for bad things, that's a bad viriya. If you're doing for good things, good viriya. But this hiri uttapa is those kind of neutral mental factors, anything that they associated with turn into white. In other words, spotless, clean. That's why they are called white Dhamma. There's another one. Another name is known to this Dhamma. They call it the Lokapala Dhamma. Lokapala, Loka is the world. Okay, the guardian, the protector of the world. The Dhamma that protects the world. The Dhamma that guards the world. Lokapala Dhamma. Because if you look at it, okay, as soon as you say protector of the world, like you think, or some people believe, the great deity, the great powerful, wholesome deity is protecting the world, protecting you, protecting me. Not that. It is the Dhamma, that feeling of not wanting to touch unwholesome states, like as if you don't want to touch the dog poops on the street. That kind of state is that hiri uttapa. And because of that, that person is totally protected from anything negative because it won't create it. It's in peace. That's one name. Another name is people who are with that, who has a shame and drag towards the unwholesome mental states, unwholesome nature, because they shines in the society, in your neighborhood. Everybody respect that kind of people. Automatically, you don't have to announce, market, promote. Automatically, people respect those kind of people, and it shines in the middle of the society, the neighbors. Because of that nature, it is also called Deva Dhamma. Deva is the deity, of course, angel. But Deva, literally, it is the beings of light. They are the brilliance. Okay, Deva, angels, are beings of lights. They have the brilliance, they shine. They are also called Deva Dhamma. So these are the names that are given to the Dhamma, hiri uttapa. The white Dhamma, the guardian of the world Dhamma, the Deva Dhamma. And if that quality is in you, if that quality is in the one who practices, that person has a beautiful, beautiful mind. That's how you create a beautiful mind. When you have that beautiful mind, sobana citta, what happens is, there's so many negative minds and positive minds. They are arising in us all the time. But those people who have reached to that appamada and hiri uttapa, most of the stream of consciousness that are arising, they are lobha citta. In other words, the mind with non-greed, the mind with generosity, the mind with non-anger, the mind with loving kindness, the mind with non-delusion, the mind who knows things with clarity. Those kind of minds, those kind of citta arises continuously. It arises in a stream of consciousness. It becomes like a norm. Other consciousness does not have much of a chance to arise. And when those arises, when you have this kind of nature, how can you measure it? How can you know about it? These are there. Okay, this is a beautiful storytelling. But there's a facts, there's a measurement, there's a measure stick. The measure stick is what? First and foremost, if you are meditating, you will see the thought that arises does not associate it with lobha, dosa, and moha. You will find that automatically. That's a measuring sticks. In your meditation, thought still arises. You don't stop the thought. If your thought is stopped, you are dead. The beautiful thoughts always arises. Alobha, adosa, amoha arises. And even in your state meditation, you feel the body light. Light, I call it, the tray I try to remember is cat. A cat is a light on the foot. And the way it moves is very gentle and smooth and graceful. And it can fit into anything. It can coil up into a little corner. It can stretch and cover the whole thing. There's a malleability in the mind. There's a lightness in the mind. There's a grace in the mind. Those kind of feelings, you can physically experience it. You might be really burdened with a heavy weight, great heavy weight of old age and disease, and the body is very heavy. You can actually feel the heaviness. You go and practice. When you got to that state, suddenly that heaviness gone and you feel like you are floating. Those are the measuring sticks that you are there. That kind of states. So there are many things that we can keep on talking about, measuring sticks. But regardless, Satipatthana Vipassana, this mindfulness insight meditation is the best tool how to make your mind beautiful. The best tool, the easiest tool, the most efficient tool, the most comprehensive tool, how to make your mind beautiful. But the Buddha, out of his great compassion, gave us so many different things. But Satipatthana Vipassana is the best efficient tool. But we can practice loving kindness. We can practice compassion. Okay. We can practice sympathetic joy. We can practice deep concentration, okay, apana, absorption concentration. These are the one how to make your mind beautiful. These are the techniques that can make your non-greed, non-anger, non-delusion consciousness arises in a stream, in a continuum. There are so many different techniques Buddha give us. You pick and choose which one you want and practice it with diligently and with commitment. The key thing is we all practice. How much are we committed to it? Do we put that as a top priority in a given time and day of our life? What kind of priority? That is commitment. Commitment varies. We all practice. Some committed more than the others. So there are so many tools to make our minds beautiful. The Buddha has taught us. Among all of them is mindfulness insight is the best. How to make your mind beautiful. How to produce Sopana Citta. May all of you be able to make your mind more and more beautiful every day, and may you be able to live in peace and happiness as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Bhajami. Dhammam Bhajami. Sangham Bhajami.